Hello class, this is a video tutorial on linear relationships. In this video we'll be looking at the gradient intercept form. The most basic equation of a line is y equals mx plus c. This is known as the gradient intercept form, as the gradient and intercept are shown in the equation itself. So the value of m, that is the gradient, and the value of c, including its sign, is the y-intercept. We'll be looking more into this in right about now. Well, what is the gradient and intercept of the following? First, this first one, y equals 2x plus 3. Very straightforward. We have the gradient here, so m of the gradient is equal to 2. And the y-intercept is equal to 3. Very straightforward here. In this one, our gradient is this value in front of x, so it's this entire value here. So the gradient is negative 3 on 4. Whereas the y-intercept, given as, well, negative 2. I want you to give this one a go for a moment. What is the gradient and what is the y-intercept? Take a look now. Well, m, do not get confused because it is not this. The gradient m is always the coefficient or the number in front of x. Now, this is put here deliberately because sometimes fractions may be written like this. So this one here might be written as negative 3x on 4. And these two things mean the same thing. So this fraction here can be written as negative half of x. Hope you can see the similarity between this one and this expression. So in this case, the gradient of this line in part 3, in question 3, is negative half. And so the y-intercept is given as this value here, 4. In this last equation here, it's much more difficult because it's in a different form. So what we do is we rearrange the equation so it looks like y equals mx plus c, this one here. So let's rearrange this. I'll do this by first adding 6y to both sides. This will give me, well, 2x is remaining. 2x equals, the right hand side has a 6 plus 6y. I'm now going to move the 6 to this side. I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. This will give me 2x minus 6 is equal to 6y. And now I'm going to divide by 6 every term. This will give me, well, 2 over 6 is 1/3 of x. Negative 6 over 6 is negative 1 equals y. So this can be rewritten as y is equal to 1/3 x minus 1. And from this we can see that the gradient m is 1/3 and the y-intercept is negative 1. We'll look into slightly more difficult problems now. Let's take a look here. Now we are in in graphs, so let's get straight into it. The y-intercept means where the line, this was one in black, crosses our y-axis. So whatever coordinate this is here, that is going to be our y-axis, our y-intercept. So since the line passes through 3, our y-intercept is going to be 3. As for our gradient, what we do is we pick any 2 points that we definitely know the values of. Like for example, if I pick this point here, I don't know precisely what the coordinates are of that point. So I'm going to pick a point on the line that I definitely know. For example, this point here. That point there is -1, 0. And this point here, well, it's the y-intercept. It's going to be 0 and 3. Well, from here we can calculate our gradient. So how much does it go across? Well, that's a run, because remember we've done this before. Our gradient m is rise over run. Well, this run distance here is 1, and then from here all the way up, how much has this risen? Well, this is 0 up to 3. So I can write this in. Our run is 1, and our rise is, well, that's going to be 3. 3 over 1. Our gradient is 3. And if we wanted to write this in our gradient intercept form, we have our gradient m, so the equation is going to be y is equal to 3x, and our y-intercept is +3, so +3. Let's do this one more time. Let's first find the easiest point, the y-intercept. Well, it's very clear to see. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So it's this point here. Our y-intercept is equal to 1. Now, for the gradient, once again, we're going to pick any 2 points we know the value of. For me, I'm going to pick this point here. That's 3. Sorry, that's -3, 2. And I'm going to pick one more point that I definitely know the value of. I could pick this one here, because that is -1.5 and 1.5. But I'd like to pick a point that's slightly more obvious. So let's just pick our y-intercept again. The coordinates of this point here are 0, 1. Now let's do the gradient. M equals rise over run. So let's figure out first how much it has risen. If we draw a triangle like this, which is what I was doing previously, how much does it rise along the y-axis between those 2 points? Oops. Well, the rise, if you look at it, it goes down by from 2 to 1. So that's a rise of -1 because it went downwards. As for the run, this distance here going across, it went from -3 to 0. So it went across 3 spaces. So our run is over 3. So our gradient is -1/3, and our y-intercept is 1. To write the equation of this line, we can get y is equal to -1/3 x plus 1. I hope that gave you an insight into the gradient intercept form of the equation of a line. Hope to see you in the next video. Best of luck.